All right. Hello, I am Mr. Rogers,
And I'm Mrs. Froman.
and you are watching the video notes for section 2-1. And we have still on invertebrates, most of them live in the water here still, and we're on mollusks, the phylum of Mollusca. So, to get started with these guys, again, we're still invertebrates. Oftentimes they have soft bodies and some type of a shell, at least one shell to have in there. A little bit different than most ones we've seen so far. They all have bilateral symmetry. And again, some of the more ancient living things on Earth, 540 million years ago. Like I said, most live in water, but some are on land, but need to be near water, in the damp environment. So in water or in those damp places.
So the body parts that all mollusks have they have a mantle, and that's a thin layer of tissue that covers their internal organs, and it also is what produces that shell.
Keeps producing that new shell as it grows.
So the inside of them, there's a foot, which is basically a big muscle, and they use that for moving, digging, or catching prey, depending on which species it is. And we start to see some more complicated body parts like kidneys in these guys. So that helps remove the body waste. Instead of the water just taking stuff away, they have an organ that does that for them.
You think about the sponge, everything just, whatever it carries away, the current does all the work. So now they have their own internal organs that do all the work for them.
Yep.
So our first type, there's going to be 3 different types of mollusks we're going to look at. The first type is gastropods. These include things like snails, slugs. Actually, as adults, they're asymmetrical, so they don't really have symmetry as adults. You can find them pretty much anywhere on Earth. And they kind of go over the map. Some are herbivores, some are scavengers, some are actually carnivores. I know I think I showed a video of one we'll show in class where a type of sea slug actually latches onto a jellyfish and like sucks the venom gets trapped in the slug and it uses the venom. So all kinds of crazy things.
So the gastropod life cycle, some of them have separate sexes, and others have the male and female organs in one organism. Some of them actually have courtship ceremonies where like snails will do a little dance to impress the female snails and stuff. In most of these, they are going to be an egg that hatches into a larva, and that larva will swim around until it matures into a...
Yeah, and even that way, we're kind of showing they get more complex. You go from an egg to actually a larva, so they're going to develop into a more complex living thing.
Right.
So some body parts here, guys, that might be actually new ones here. That single shell or no shell, like think about a slug has no shell. Usually pretty slow moving, they creep along on that foot, that muscle, some do. Some will have what's called a radula. And you can see some pictures of the radula over here. Here's an animation of it. It's kind of like a flexible ribbon of teeth. This almost looks like a tongue almost, but it's a kind of row of teeth they can just scrape off. Sometimes you have like snails and fish tanks, and they keep the algae off it. So that radula would do that, would just scrape off that algae as food. A lot of times they have that shell, they have that kind of trap door to kind of ward off predators and survive, to kind of tuck away into it. And again, they have a nervous system, so again, more complex, more complexity in living things.
Yep, and then we have another kind called the bivalves, which means they have 2 shells. This is our clams, oysters, scallops, mussels. They all live in the water. These guys are filter feeders, so if you look at the picture of the guy down there, he's got his little gills sticking out. Those capture food that are floating in the water. So a little bit like a sponge in a way, just kind of waiting for that stuff to flow by and it captures it.
So as far as the life cycle goes, by now most have there's male and female are separate. And again, eggs are going to hatch into a larva stage before they become adults. So again, they have to go through that larval stage to become more complex, into adulthood. Again, as adults, think about bivalves, clams, oysters, they latch on to different rocks or different whatever might be the structure, and they're kind of that's where they stay. But some are mobile. But a lot of these guys, after larval stage, they kind of latch on and they're in that one place where they'll filter feed or wherever it might be.
So the body parts that these guys have, they have those gills to filter the food from the water, and they have those 2 shells that are held together by a hinge, and then strong muscles. If you've ever tried to pry a live one apart, it's not easy to do. If these guys get grit or sand inside their shell, it produces a coating on that because it's kind of like getting sand in your teeth kind of thing. It's really uncomfortable for them. And that's what makes a pearl. So they just put layers and layers and layers on top of that to make it smooth. And
so it just takes, that's years. The bigger the pearl, it means the longer it's been in there. So that pearl keeps adding layers and layers of that type on there. And I guess you can always tell, like a real pearl, if you bite it, it's not smooth. Like if you a real one wouldn't be smooth or something like that. If you really bit into it, I guess you can kind of tell by the grit on your teeth. So our next group is a group of cephalopods, and these are our kind of most advanced group of
Yes.
mollusks. By now, the octopus has been known to do all kinds of ingenious things. So even use tools and things like that. So
Yep.
much more the higher brain development. Really
Yeah.
big eyes to hunt prey with. So the octopus, cuttlefish, nautilus, squid, all fall in this category. And their feet actually form tentacles around their mouth to capture prey. And those tentacles might have suckers for taste and touch, and also latching onto prey. Think how big these guys can get. The largest giant squid found was over 59 feet long and weighed half a ton.
Yeah, those are the ones that live really deep too.
Really
So
deep,
we don't
yeah.
even know.
20,000 leagues
How
under the
big they
sea
might
type
be.
of stuff.
Yeah.
How big are they down there? We don't even know.
Yeah. The cephalopod life cycle, they do have separate sexes. And again, the eggs are going to hatch into that larva. And the adults are all mobile in this category. They're little, aren't they cute?
Yeah, little guys there. Yeah, they're cute then, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, the cephalopod body parts, again, getting more complex. Now they have these large eyes, developed eyes for vision, complex nervous systems. Again, large brains can learn things. Octopus have been known to, like I said, I think even be able to open
They can
a
open
peanut butter jar to get the
jars
treat out of there.
Yeah.
They learn a lot more than we think they do. Swim by water by jet propulsion. So just like it sounds, they suck water in one end and shoot out the other. And that's how they move. Part of defense, the squid and octopus can squirt out ink to confuse predators and kind of throw them off, and cloud up the water so they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, so 7th grade, we're going to stop there. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you along the way.
Bye.